Hello there, my name's Simon from CramTheExam and welcome to Week 8, Day 1 of your 12-week preparation course for the FCE CAE or Matura Advanced Exam. There's only 1 month to go, but there's no need to panic. There's plenty of time if you've missed any of my videos, so go back and have a look at the videos that I've done to make sure that you get plenty of exam practice before you do your exam. Now, before you go any further, there's a couple of things you need to do. If you haven't seen the video that I've done for Week 3, Day 1, where I introduced the topic of reviews, go back and watch that video now, because you're going to need to know those basic rules, that basic introduction to reviews before we actually begin to tackle the review as an exam question. Also, if you haven't had a look at the links that I had in that video from Week 3, Day 1, make sure you have a look at those links, particularly for Rubens Valero, because I'll be referencing that page a lot, and my structure that I'll be showing you to deal with these exam questions that we're going to look at today will be based on what's written on that web page. So make sure you have a look at all that information. Today we're going to break down 2 review questions, one for the FCE, one for the CAE. These are the free online questions that you can see the links to in the video description below this video. So make sure you have a look at that before you go any further in this video. Okay, assuming you've done all of that stuff, let's get stuck into it. Okay, so let's have a look at the FCE question first. As you can see on the link above my head and in the video description below this video, that's the link to the question on Exam English. So let's quickly fly through it. You see this announcement in a film and TV magazine: film TV show reviews wanted. Next month is National Science Month. In next month's issue, we want to celebrate films and TV shows that promote science. Do you know any shows or film which promote science? Write us a review explaining what it's about, why you enjoy it, and why it encouraged you to learn about science. The best reviews will be published in our next issue. So, important things first. What should you be underlining? You should be underlining the fact that it's for a magazine, because that tells us our register. So it's going to be neutral, personal, possibly even a little bit informal. That's our register. Now, what are we writing a review about? We're writing a review about a film or a TV show that promotes science. So not promotes engineering, not promotes anything else apart from science. So the topic's got to be science related. Now, science is a big area. It covers a lot of different things. So you've got plenty of choice here depending on what you think science is. And it could be biology, physics, chemistry, whatever it could be. It could be anything from dinosaurs to Einstein. Think of something. Now, you've got to explain what it's about. Underline that. Why we enjoy it. Underline that. And why it encouraged you to learn science. So straight away, we know what the things we need to include are in this writing. And that gives us our structure straight away. So let's have a look at our structure. And this is our structure. And this is what we get from Rubens Valero and from other websites which tell you the structure for a review. First of all, an interesting title. Second of all, the first paragraph, what am I reviewing? I'm trying to get the reader's interest in this introductory sentence. So this is where you tell the reader about what it is that you're going to be writing about. The second paragraph is your opinion on the topic linked to the question. Third paragraph is on your opinion on topic linked to the question. Fourth paragraph, and so on. And then the last bit is the summary and recommendation. So that's the basic structure to our review. Also, above my head, as you'll see here, there's this funny little box. This is a quick review of grammar structures. So here you've got past, present, future, simple, continuous, perfect, perfect, continuous, conditionals 1, 2, 3, relative pronouns, passive, active. So these are just a small section of grammar tools, grammar structures that you can use, but if you include a lot of these, which is why I've put little boxes where you can kind of tick these things off, then you're going to, just by using this, you're going to be using a huge range of grammar. But of course, we can use more. So let's work on our structure a little bit more to make it a little bit more relevant to our question. So if we work on our structure just a little bit more, we can change second paragraph, third paragraph to say this. First of all, what am I reviewing? So this is the TV show or the film that you want to say. The second paragraph now refers to what we've underlined. So we've underlined, what is it about? Why did you enjoy it? Why it encouraged you to learn about science? So the second paragraph is what it's about. And I also included in this paragraph why I enjoyed it. But there's nothing to say that you can't do something like this. Why you can't put the third paragraph, create a four paragraph structure. Let's do that. There we go. So you can create a structure which is second paragraph, what it's about, third paragraph, why I enjoyed it, and fourth paragraph, why did it encourage me. So you can play around with the paragraph structure a little bit, but the paragraph structure is meant to mirror what it is that you're meant to do. So either 2 paragraphs which deal with the 3 points, or 3 paragraphs which deal with the 3 points. So that's a little bit more of a detailed structure to our review. So let's just step it up one step more. And as you can see, what we've done here is we've really begun to flesh out the plan, which will really help us with our writing. So I've thought of a title. The science film I would wholeheartedly recommend. So you're trying to create interest in the title as well. So you want someone to see your review and start to read it. First paragraph, what am I reviewing? Get the reader's interest. So here, I grew up watching science films. I was fascinated by them on TV. Then I identified the film. But the best film or the best television program I saw on science was, and then identify the title. Make up a title. It doesn't have to be factually accurate. It just has to show off your English skills. So think of a title. And then you go on to say in this first paragraph, this review will explain why I think this was the best science film which influenced me most of all. Thinking something like that. So in this, you've created interest, the reader knows what's going to be reviewed, and you move on. So that's the idea of the first paragraph. The second paragraph, what it's about, and here I put the two things together. What it's about, why I enjoyed it. The film dealt with, it looked at, it considered, it discussed, it showed me, la 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 la. So there's plenty of opportunities, plenty of variations you can use to say what the film was about. Here, compared to others, it was. So here what I'm trying to do is start a discussion, start a narrative about why this film is better than other films. And I've linked this into the topic of why I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because it was better than the others. So I've created a narrative there, but of course there are plenty of other narratives that you can create. And you can use emotive language, say like, I loved it because you want to use strong vocabulary to communicate the fact that you think that this is a fantastic film or TV program. The third paragraph, why did it encourage me? Now, you've got to come up with language here that is positive, which will communicate to the reader. So you can use expressions in this case, like it opened my eyes is a nice expression, made science enjoyable, showed me science was real. Here we can use conditionals. For example, if other science programs were as good as this one, I perhaps would have been interested earlier. You can form of conditionals. You can think of how to form or use conditionals into the context you want to create or the narrative that you want to create. Here I'm trying to create a discussion once more by comparing it to other science films I saw. So unlike others, or compared to others which, so relative pronoun, relative clause structure there, which did this. This film this film looked at, impressed me because, and so on, so on. So there's you can take, and this is something that you can practice, is that you can take a standard simple sentence and you can just build it in different ways. Can you make that sentence an active? If it's active, can you make it passive? If it's passive, can you make it active? Can you include adjectives? Can you turn that sentence into a conditional? Can you turn that sentence into a first conditional, second conditional, third conditional? Can we introduce relative pronouns into that to create interesting sentence structures? Can we introduce conjunctions, linkers, signposts? There's plenty of things that you can do by yourself in preparing for the writing, in terms of taking a simple sentence and then creating different sentences from that, which are better every single time and which fulfill different functions. And then as a summary and recommendation, your summary, say final good thing about the film. In this case, I said it was a revolutionary approach to science programming, and I strongly recommend. So there has to be an obvious recommendation, an obvious expression of opinion explaining why it has to be recommended, why this review says it's good. And you have to say, I strongly recommend, I believe that you should, something along those lines. And if you think about it, this whole narrative gives you the opportunity to talk about the past, the present, and the future. For example, films beforehand weren't as good. I hope future films will be better than this. This will set the standard. As of now, films are as good or getting better. So the narrative allows you to talk about the past, the present, and the future. And of course, that then will open up the possibility to at least use these three forms, if not these four forms. So it is quite possible to include all of these things, all of that grammar range, in 100 and how many words it was, less than 200 words, which is what you have to write. So there's a lot of information that you can cram into a small amount of words, but it does need practice. And I strongly recommend that you do as many writing exercises as you can. Okay, let's go on to the CAE review and analyse that in much the same way. Okay, so this is the CAE review question. As you can see, it's available in the link above my head, also in the video description below, so make sure to check it out. And the question reads as this: a college which you attended in the past has written to you asking you to what extent its facilities met the needs of students academically and socially. Write a letter to the college answering these questions, suggests areas where the college could improve facilities. So the aim of this review is more complex than the FCE review, which means it needs a slightly different approach. Where the FCE review is largely pros, cons, tell us the best and why. This is the problem. Think about the review in terms of the problem which is presented and then make suggestions, which is a slightly different skill set. So let's have a look at our plan to deal with this question. And that plan is quite similar to the FCE. You've got an interesting title. First paragraph, what am I trying to achieve? Indicate the structure, raise a question. Second paragraph, your opinion on question topic. Third paragraph, your opinion on question topic. Lastly, assessment, final recommendation. So let's just take this up the next step. And if we do this, we can structure our plan much more closer to what the question is asking us. So, what am I trying to achieve? Indicate structure, raise question. That remains unchanged. New opinion on academic needs of students meet needs. Because if we have a look at our sentence, if we have a look at the question, it says, to what extent its facilities, the college which you attended, to what extent the facility met the needs of the students academically, and to what extent it met the needs of the students socially. So that gives us our plan. This gives us our structure for our review. So the second paragraph is, does it meet the academic needs of the students? And the third paragraph is, does it meet the social needs of the students? And we need to divide our answer up, our review, in this way. And then finally, we've got an assessment and final recommendation. Now, a few things here. You have to write a letter to the college. So two things. If you're writing a letter to a college, I think we can assume from that it's going to go to college hierarchy, college management. So we've got to think more along of a personal, neutral, formal register. Certainly informal is not the correct register. We've still got to interest the reader. A review has the purpose of interesting the reader and giving us a review of something. But we've also got to think about the fact that it's a letter. So this is a review format in a letter. So we've got to fulfill or at least I would, to be safe, I would write, Dear Mr. Principal, please find enclosed my review. So there I've ticked the requirements for a letter. And then I would have my review structure, which would be title, para, assessment. And then at the end of that, I would say, I hope you find the above review satisfactory. Yours sincerely, Simon, whoever it might be. So you've got to, I would, just to be safe, fulfill the format of a letter and the review. Okay, so let's flesh out the bones of our structure just a little bit more. And so this would be my plan. I would have an interesting title. First of all, you've got to make up a college. Does St. Mary's College's facilities meet student needs? A review. Something along that line. That interesting title has got a question. I'll put a question mark in there, and then I'll put in a review as well. Get the reader's attention. Title is important. First paragraph. What am I trying to achieve? Indicate the structure. Raise questions. So, what am I trying to achieve here? In this review, I'll explain my experience of the St. Mary's College's facilities, and I shall focus on two areas in my review, looking at the pros and the cons, something like this. So here I'm indicating the structure. What will I do? I'm going to focus on two areas, looking at the pros and cons, and then raise a question at the end. And I've got question to end paragraph here. So does the facilities meet or have the facilities met the needs of students, which would be a question looking at the past, specifically referring to me. Or I could structure the context to be to look at the future. I could say, will the facilities at St. Mary's Colleges be enough to support the students of the future? So that question can be focused to look at the past, and it can be focused to look at the review, to look at the future. And you've got to bear in mind that context as you go through your review. So, second paragraph, new opinion on academic needs of students. Does it meet the needs? Here you've got to focus on the academic needs of students. So you've got to talk about libraries, teaching, you've got to talk about support, you've got to talk about availability of textbooks, technological support, whatever it might be. You can think of a couple of different things, and you've got to think about these in context of the question. So pros and cons. So you can use a slightly more advanced language, like what really appealed was ... however, something. Here we can use conditional structures. If St. Mary's were to ... I think it would have ... And then you've got to come to then you've got to answer the question. Did this meet the needs? And you've got to be quite explicit about that. You can't hide that. You can't imply it. You can't, or at least I wouldn't. I wouldn't write something and think, the examiner will know what I'm talking about. You've got to be quite explicit. Third paragraph, new opinion on social needs of the students. Does it meet the needs? So once again, think of the social needs. This would be more support. This would be more amount of teachers to students. This would be about, librarian support. This would be, you can think of different things. And once again, looking at the pros and the cons to create that narrative. I must praise. Here we can use inversion. Not only was this great, but this was also great. Create the narrative of contrast. So in contrast to whatever it might be, which might not be so good. And then you've also got to answer that question, were the needs met? So here I've used the active voice, here I've gone for the passive voice. Students' needs were or were not met, ... So already in these 2 paragraphs, I've used quite a wide range of grammar structures. And then finally, as an assessment or a final recommendation, I'll just scroll that up. I would strongly encourage, I would definitely focus on something over something else. So it needs to be, just like the FCE, an explicit expression of opinion, explicit expression of how you review it, what you think should be good. And it says here as final recommendation, what you think should happen, gives you the choice to decide where the main priority should be. Of course, all of this, the narrative, just like the FCE question, allows you to talk about the past. You've left the college, so you're talking about your time at the college. So there's the past. You could talk about the present. For example, you could create the narrative, I went back to do this review to see what was happening, and this is the situation now. You talk about the future. I think this should happen as a modal looking towards the future. This will be beneficial if ... So we're looking at the future there. Plenty of scope to use conditionals in those time periods, the past, the present, and the future. Relative pronouns, relative clauses, passive and active, as I've done here, in terms of did they meet the needs, and the needs were not met. So in creating this plan, what we've really done is we've taken the bare bones plan, we've fleshed out the bare bones of the plan, and in doing that, we've pretty much written our essay, our review. So all we've got to do now is go onto the paper, write this all down. Because you've organised the plan in such a great way, everything's going to make logical sense. And you know that you're covering a wide range of grammar and vocabulary as well. So bearing all of that in mind about how to do the review, these are the questions I would like you to have a look at today. Of course, you can try the free internet questions, be my guest. But if you've got one of these course books, you can do one of these questions. And of course, if you've signed up to my website, CramTheExam.com, you can send your answers to me. I'll mark it, give you some constructive criticism, show you where you've gone wrong, give you some ideas about how you can improve your answer, and give you plenty of feedback in general about how to develop your writing. And you can do that if you join my website, as I said, CramTheExam.com. And as I'm sure you know by now, you can get 30 days access, 31 days access, a month's access for 30 zloty, which is around about 7 to 8 euros. Or if you want 3 months access, I can give you a course book for free. I can send it to you in Poland for 75 zlotys. Please buy it through my Allegro shop. There's a link in the video description below. If you're in Euroland, send me an email, tell me what you want. I can get that out to you. A little bit more expensive, 105 zlotys to send it to Europe. But nevertheless, it's a free course book, 3 months access, and it's a whole lot cheaper than you can buy just the course book on your home eBay site. Go check it out. So here's a quick reminder of the writing tasks for today. If you've got any questions at all about my video, my explanations, about reviews, about the questions that I've asked you to do, or about Cram the Exam, please write in the comments section below and I will get back to you. Tomorrow is Tuesday, which means it's listening, and we'll be back again tomorrow with some more free online exercises and more listening exercises for you to practice your listening skills. So I'll see you tomorrow.